I couldn't risk. I had to. I haven't done it in a while. Lenok, he privated his profile. I loved him, and then I kind of hated him because we couldn't actually get our hands on his games, but we're able to, courtesy of Fitzy, so thank you very much, Fitzy. Fitzy here, by the way, has been seen once or twice on the stream before. I don't think he's made it to the YouTube side, so maybe this is the day. Maybe we're going to get an interesting matchup, because it's going to be Boomer on Boomer, right? It's going to be HRE versus Abbasid, two very eco-heavy type civs here on the Danube River. Danube River that I just love watching. Compared to the other one that you never want to see, this one, the other one was an eyesore, right? This one feels nicely balanced. It's quite fun to actually watch people duke it out on this one. And Fitzy, by the way, for those who are unfamiliar, Fitzy has kind of been grinding it out. I saw him occasionally appearing just outside the top 100. Has finally breached the top 100 now. 385 games played. 80th position on the boards with 1,696 elo rating. Lenok, on the other hand, has featured on the channel before, and we have actually praised Lenok's ability on several occasions. Especially what I love about this guy is his ability to force late game situations, which I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in... I'm looking at the wrong side, I'm blue. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in this game, where it's not even necessarily going to be about forcing a late game situation. It's going to be about like how you match up against another person who wants that late game situation, right? But Lenok, for reference, right now is 65th on the boards with 1,709 elo. 578 games played, by the way. Guy's a grinder. Really loves the game. For those unfamiliar with who Lenok is actually quite the decorated StarCraft 2 competitor. In fact, if I whip up the earnings, I believe last time we said it, it was like, I want to say $250,000. I'm trying to remember the numbers off my head. I think it was actually over $250,000. Yeah, so it's $291,000 earned. Most of that actually from a few years ago. So for reference, in 2021, he's only earned almost $3,000. So, you know, kind of a penny in the pond compared to like what he's made overall. But this guy is like highly recognized within the StarCraft community as being quite the damn good player. I think on the boards currently, he's ranked 32nd on the Korean boards, which doesn't sound that impressive, but keep in mind that Korea is usually considered to be like the masterclass on StarCraft. There's only a few people from other regions that are even seen as comparative to the top 30 in Korea. So still a respective number for Lenok to actually inhabit. And then, of course, Fitzy. I think Fitzy doesn't really have much of a background, right, if I'm not mistaken. Not to be confused with the other Fitzy. I think there's two Fitzys, right? So there's Fitzy here, which is this one, who's a very big streamer, 207,000 followers on Twitch. And then there's Fitzbro. Fitzbro, I think a lot of people within Age of Empires is more, they're probably be more familiar with him. He's kind of dedicated to that scene, right? He's done a lot of AoE too. Whereas when we look across at Fitzy here, I think Fitzy has kind of been a variety streamer, right? So kind of cool to have people like that hanging around. We've seen other people come in. If anyone here knows Dota, they'll know that Sing Sing for quite a while was slamming the crap out of that game, of this game. He was loving that game. But yeah, Fitzy, he was a competitor in StarCraft 2, but I think it was fairly early days, and he only earned like $2,000. So that wasn't really where he made his money. He made his money being a content creator, and he's damn good at it. Let's see if he's damn good at HRE, because I've definitely seen him playing a lot of this, and I think I've seen him once or twice. I've cast over him once or twice. The outcomes didn't necessarily go well for him. Those were against very, very skilled competitors, though. People who, like, I'd say, kind of grinded a little bit more than Lenok, right? We're talking about the kind of Viper situations, or like the Muslims, like these people that are like non-stop 24/7, just slamming out, shows as well. Lenok, of course, being very talented, but as I said, around the 500-600 mark, there are definitely people that are just trouncing right now. People, by the way, let me know if you see anyone that trounces Sio's games played. Sio is absolutely absurd, and I'm always looking for people who like are absolutely addicted to the game, because I love to feature those type of people. For anyone wondering what the like threshold is, Sio has over 1,000 games on his primary account, and then he has a Smurf with about 100 extra. So it's 1,064 to be specific. So he's sitting around 1,200 games or so on one account. Well, on it's two accounts rather, but 1,000 plus on one account and being in the top 25 is pretty damn impressive, nonetheless. But let's stop talking about Sio. Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about what's going to happen here. So far, openings, nothing too untoward or unexpected. What the... What? Oh, damn. What? Yo, okay, this is cool. So Lenok actually spammed out 4 scouts early on to try and keep his opponent off the water. But he could not find this. Look what Fitzy done. He snuck the dock right at the top. And his opponent doesn't expect this. And instead, look how many people he put in the gold. This is insane. I saw them Zerg over here. I'm shocked this many people are on the gold right now. But he was paranoid, right? He thought he was going to get early raided, and he is being raided, but only by scouts right now. So he'll bank enough for at least the Arkan Chapel. Now he needs to sort his food. And he will get his food sorted. But this many ships already on the water, sneaking this is so big brain out of Fitzy. And Lennox, such a big investment. 4 scouts slows down his early economy, right? So he's the kind of element, like the element he's looking for, the goal he's looking for here, right? Is he's like, I'm going to be slower to feudal. That's undeniable against an HRE player. So I need the scouts to harass his eco and his base a little bit, but more importantly, keep him off the water. He failed to spot this, which means that Fitzy should still be able to crack a quicker timing on feudal. And it means that he'll be able to push out his galleys and push them around to his opponent's side where he'll be able to sink DAOs quite easily. Because remember, galleys, they actually fare quite well against the DAOs. The only disadvantage to them is if they ever have to run away, they're going to get sunk. And there we go. Might not be that big a concern for Lennox. Lennox does actually clutch it pretty quick here. Already halfway through the Eco Wing upgrade. Arkan Chapel now being started, but Fitzy, my God, this man hard commits. 16 people to build this up. You know how everyone kind of like, they have their finite balance, they've scaled it correctly, they're like, oh, I need this many people on wood and this many people on food. They've optimized, they've tweaked, it's like specific numbers. Then there's just Fitzy, it's like, I want gold. Send all the miners. But we're specialized in food. Mining! Go! Doesn't hesitate every time to just send everyone across the one thing he needs. It does mean he's suffering on the wood front a little bit. Which means he is going to be somewhat likely to forfeit this dock. He could build a second one down here, though. I think once you have feudal rather, you can just build a dock closer to where your actual base is, and you don't have to play this kind of cheesy shenanigans on the side anymore. The spears are definitely going to be too late to reach, though. So, Tech Up's actually matching up. Lennox, remember, he got the required resources sooner. And Lennox, economy on the water is pretty good. Scout movement, though, is this going to be quick enough? It's going to be tight. I think he maybe sets fire to it, but the Dow should come out in time after that. Meanwhile, on the other side, this dock's definitely getting set fire to before the spears are in place to defend you. And yep, there you go. One villager out. Leon's like, oh, no. I don't think so. So get the hell out of here. In the meantime, now, what is the prioritization? He gets only 1 spear. Make that 2. Should be enough to hold back the scouts. Problem is, you now need to rebuild your dock. He hasn't made a move for it just yet. And his attempt on the other side is going to be denied as the Dow is going to be complete, forcing the scouts inland. He can at least get eyeballs on Lennox. I don't think you're necessarily paranoid about a military force, though, early on from the Abbasid play. You're just frustrated that you've been denied on the waterfront and it's stunted your growth, right? Because although you can gather food efficiently at base, you want to supplement, right? That's the power of water hybrid maps. That's why you engage with it. Because if you can get your hands on the fishing fleet, then you're able to actually just dedicate your resource-producing units that are being generated out of one building on the remaining resources, which is usually just wood and gold. And it does give you the edge quite often. And we can see on the numbers. Lennox, ahead on wood, matching on food. Fitzy doubling him up on gold, but that is because he keeps throwing basically everyone, including the old retired people, back into the gold mine. Kicks him down there and says, you know, you came into this world in the dark. You're going to leave it in the dark. Bring me some gold nuggets. Oh, definitely bring him plenty. So he's going to switch a few over now. Remember, every time you kind of like read this wrong, like what you need optimally, it's actually time lost gathering, right? Because your villagers have to run in between on each of these things. So it is actually hurting him a little bit in that regard. And it looks like Fitzy is more or less just surrendering the waterfront entirely. Didn't even try to get a dock down. Didn't even try to contest. He should be able to actually hit a decent timing, though. You can see Fitzy has the surplus required. He's going to be able to actually tech up first. This is what we're talking about, right? Because he shifted those people across from gold. He had surplus, but he wasn't ready on the food yet, and he's going to need the wood for the infrastructure. It's all about that tier-top balance, right? Like, the more you play, the more you optimize that, and it does pay out to learn those over time. But that's for nerds who really, really care about the game. I mean, I never bothered to learn those. I'm with you, Fitzy. If I need gold, I'm sending the whole goddamn platoon. And he's sending the platoon again. 21 people working on this. That is an absurd quantity. It's a fast build-up time, but I don't think it's that much quicker than having 10 people, really. Remember, diminishing returns. So the way the numbers work currently in Age of Empires 4, at least when it comes to building landmarks, is 1 is 1 times build speed, 4 is 2 times build speed, 10 is 3 times build speed. So you see how you start to get diminishing returns when you add more past that point. But he's at least now up. He's moving out with the prelates as well. Prelates that could be somewhat sniped by Scout. Oh my god, the prelates! What? 5 prelates out in the field right now. Good lord. All right. I complain about players not being ahead on the mark, in position to do this quick enough sometimes, and god damn it, he is. And he needed to be. I've got to actually like highlight, this is disgusting generation, by the way. You know how I was like, Danube, woo, such a better map now, woo, great map, woo. Not this map. This map is pure disgusting. Look at it, guys. Have you noticed the detail here? 4 relics right next to Lennox base. How is this even fair? What is this? Fitzy right now, not microing correctly, not even picking up the relics, not looking for the Wololo. Might be able to sneak one past Lennox here. Lennox actually splits up and goes for that one instead, though. He needs the Wololo to protect. He's got spears coming out now, so it should be protected, but he's not gathering this other relic. He needs a 3rd one right now. And there you go, Lennox just run past him. Whoop-de-doo. Not exactly what I call the hardest of dodges, right? I do like this play, though. This is the reason he brought the prelate back. He just wants to heal the other one and move past, because he knows he's going to be skirted by the scout's mobility superiority over that of the spears. I think the first one is almost back, right? Yeah, it's on its way back. Wait, wasn't there... Am I missing one? So we've got 1 relic coming in here, 2nd one here. Where's the 3rd? Because there's 1 not showing on the map right now. Did he just not bank it? Oh my god. Oh! This hurts my brain. This hurts my eyes. My eyes! Why is the prelate just standing? Okay, thank god. I don't know how long he was there, though. I think that was the one from the west corner. So he could have been standing there for like a whole minute. Oh, damn. Good job, prelate. Get wrecked by a wolf, but at least you capped the sacred site. Oh, nice pull off. Peels the prelate off, sacrifices him to get the other one back home. And now he needs to get some military infrastructure. He needs to do it fast. So did he get all 3? Wait, where's... Oh, for God's sake, Fitzy, no! Stop reading out sub-donations. There's a game to be won here. You're playing against a great from the world of StarCraft. You cannot neglect your efficiency here. You gotta get those relics banked. You gotta do it quick. And wow, Lennox going into camel archers. In fairness, he did see some spearmen coming out, right? But overall, not a great unit. I mean, it gives him the mobility, but you know, unless you're going to be up against spearmen, it doesn't really give you much else. Okay, so Trip Relic, Fitzy needs a military district. Still doesn't have one yet, and I'm getting this weird feeling that he's contemplating rushing to Imperial, which could get punished by Lennox. Lennox himself building a 2nd, make that a 3rd TC. We hadn't checked in a while due to the weird shenanigans we were watching elsewhere on the map, but is already up in the castle. Is getting the 3rd TC. This will allow him to scale alongside Fitzy to an extent, but Fitzy already ready to tech up. And there it is, straight in. Remember, you get that slight discount, and it is going to be the Pass of Swabia. So remember, folks, this is basically 4 TCs in 1 with a big discount on the cost of your villages. It's going to mean you're more efficient than the Abbasids, right? Because the Abbasids, they get a 50% discount with fresh food stuff down to 25. Well, you're only paying 12 food per villager, and you're producing it every 5 seconds. So yeah, basically it's going to be 3 TCs versus 5. That means on the numbers, although Lennox is ahead courtesy of the fishing fleet, Fitzy will be able to catch up. He's going to need to. Even looking to gather more of these, really? I mean, maybe if you're lucky, but I don't know. I feel like these ones might be hard to grab next to Lennox base. These 2 relics just parked right outside there. So good luck with that one. He's now looking to get into the outpost, guard himself somewhat. Really needs more military infrastructure. I just feel like you need to get your people on the wood line, and there we go. immediately throws everyone on it. The reason, by the way, is he needs to gather ridiculous surpluses of wood, not only for his military district, but also for the switch over into farmlands, right? Because he's running out of things to gather here. He's got a few sheep carcasses left here and the berry bushes, and then that's it. Then he's out. So he needs to be prepped for that. And he's definitely saved a lot of room near the Archon Chapel to get that efficiency out of the farmlands. So expect to see him play towards that. But for the moment, the prelates, they're going to make sure the wood business is good. And no wheelbarrow either. Okay, now he's getting it, thank God. I think wheelbarrow is neglected by way too many players. It's so effective. In fact, look at this. They're basically going for it about the same timing. So similar feeling for both of them. And there should be, there should be the switch over to farms coming soon. You can already see he's prepping with the agriculture, so Lenok understands that he's going to need to make a switch to farm soon. He's not as pressured as his opponent, though, remember, because he's still got a lot of food to gather on the water, and, of course, has buried bushes to fall back upon. So I think this is more just preemptively being in position in case he gets raided on water, in case something happens there. They'll be able to fall back quickly into farmlands. Alright, we've got 1,000 wood. Farm's now being dropped. I need to see military bones, though. You got to be worried you're going to get raided soon, right? Like, he's playing pretty blind. Yeah, look the limit vision. A scout in the center. One over to the west, but there's breach points that could easily just allow opponents to sneak into your side completely unnoticed. And Lenok, he's actually paranoid himself. Look at this. He's going to be palisading up on the southwestern side, as well as already having the crossing palisade, right? So he's actually concerned that he's going to be raided first. Little does he know how defensive Fitzy is at this point. You might know it soon. Camel archers, getting the one use that they do have. Just two hitting these poor little spearmen, only being in the hardened status. And it is going to be keeps in the center. So Lenok, slowly looking to crawl out, looking to play towards those sacred sites. He actually wants to force Fitzy to come to him, but he wants to make it difficult for him to reach him. And you can already see, like, he's decapped the sacred site in the south. Could easily just send some religious figures out soon if he chooses. But I think for the next few minutes, his primary concern is ensuring that Fitzy doesn't get them and doesn't force an uncomfortable situation, which is why this keep goes down so early. There we go. So Rax finally coming out. I wonder what the call's going to be. I think it should just be man-at-arms. Don't get too cute with Landsknecht yet until you see a reason to. You can kind of squeeze in a few here or there, but man-at-arms is definitely going to be your source play, right? You're up against Abbasids. What is Abbasids likely to play into in the late game? It's usually going to be the man-at-arms. And in that situation, yours completely trounce theirs, right? With the bonus damage against heavy, as well as the movement speed you can get from the blacksmiths, like, you'll always have the edge. I think that's why we don't see that much of Abbasids, by the way, is Abbasids don't really have anything to truly draw them back in. I think, like, the one exception to a degree is the composite bows in the late game, right? Like, you can get your hands on the composite bows so they reduce reload time, so you fire 25% faster. But that's only on archers. It's not on crossbowmen. If it was on crossbowmen, I could kind of see, like, where people are coming from. Maybe Abbasids have something. But outside that, you just kind of feel weak, right? You get the additional range on your spears, and that's kind of it. You don't really, like, because your camels suck. Plenty of people have highlighted this. Even the devs have kind of acknowledged that, yeah, the camels aren't really, they're not as effective as we were kind of hoping. So maybe one day soon we'll see some sort of buff up, some juice to them, maybe a switch in the roles. But right now, one of the biggest limiting factors for me is just camel archers especially feel redundant. Like, the whole concept of doing the aura that makes, you know, cavalry do less damage is a cool one, but outside that, like, you maybe put a few of these in your formation, but primarily you're going to be spears, man-at-arms, or archers / crossbows. So Fitzy, lots of farmers down now. A lot of them are being inspired as well, courtesy being in the Archon Chapel. And back on the wood line, this time over here, going to get that efficiency of just buffing up these gather rates, right? And I think he did. Yes, he did. So you notice he actually picked up the increased inspiration rate. So these guys are actually gathering at 50%, a quicker 50% speed rather compared to 40%. Didn't choose to get the construction. It's situational on that. Most of the time players don't get that right now. And I don't expect them to get Inspired Warriors. I think Inspired Warriors, like, the concept is cool, but I think Prelates are still a little bit buggy in the front, and also the micro management of that can feel a bit awkward. The one exception is maybe siege weapons. I haven't seen anyone use it. I'm starting to wonder if it's bugged and doesn't work for that. I haven't tested it myself recently, but I'm pretty sure you should be able to inspire siege weapons, and that 15% could actually be a big deal on things like Mangonels. But I'm just going to run the assumption it doesn't work for now. Otherwise, we would have probably seen it. Lenok in the meantime. Now up in the Imperial Age, what is going to be the play? We've seen him spamming plenty of spears. He's going to keep that going. Might be in for a rude awakening, though, because I don't think we're going to see anything that cares about spears out of Fitzy. You can really see with the quadruple racks, he has got a few stables back here. But I think the primary play is going to be into the man-at-arms, assisted by some horsemen. And this is why I don't think you're that bothered, right? If you've got horsemen, you're going to be up against spearmen. You just dodge the fight, you raid later. The whole point behind the horsemen is they can be an effective like sieging tool. They're pretty meaty. They do decent siege damage. And then also, if your opponent has gone for like this composite force of ranged and melee, you've countered on both fronts, right? Because you know that he doesn't have anything that can match your man-at-arms in the melee. So then you just need to have something that can chase down his ranged units that might actually have the edge against HRE man-at-arms. Knock. Moving in. Picks off one or two of the villagers. And no response coming out of Fitzy. Fitzy is just watching his people die. Interesting he didn't chase in there, by the way. Horsemen would completely shred through these camels, but not even going for the weakened one. Come on, no. Don't do this to me. All right, so Fitzy. Oh, he tries to stab too late. Trip Mangonel now, though. Fitzy, avenge them! Camels do not like rocks. It is technically and scientifically proven. That's why they spilt the time. They're thinking about rocks. And now Mangonel should be able to get rid of the Dow as well. Unless Lenok pulls it away. In the meantime, Lenok has built up even more camel archers. So I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of this, right? Spears and camel archers, I just don't see how that gives you the edge right here. However, having the waterfront does give you the edge for this. Explosive Dows. He has access to the boom boom. And I believe, yes, he has indeed gone ahead and got the explosives tech. So these hit hard. 700 damage on a ginormous range. It's an absurd range, in fact. So if you fight anywhere near the shores, there could come a moment where Fitzy loses the entire army. And that's the dangerous part about the waterfront right now. You know, that's why surrendering over water and hybrid maps can actually cause you to lose the game, especially if it's going ultra late. And this game is clearly going ultra late, right? There's been barely any signs. They're now both up in Imperial Age by 22 minutes. We haven't even had that big decisive fight at any point yet. And I don't think we will until both of them hit their cap. And even then, maybe not. I mean, Fitzy, his economy is scaled so hard. 130 villages right now. He's going to have to move out soon. He's going to run out of things to actually gather in his own base. Because that's the bounce back, right? We can talk about how efficient the economy of the HRE is. And the fact that you can build up so quickly, right, courtesy the Palace of Swabia. But now being up at 130 villages, you're not going to have much in your base to pick from. Oh my god, the boom rate. How is that balanced? What? Come on. The boom is here. The villagers are here. It's the range of a repair from a dock. And he just sniped the villager line. Relic, talk to me, guys. What's going through your mind on this one? Because I don't think that's it, dog. I don't think that's what we needed. Good God. Even more explosive Dows nearby. So complete denial on the waterfront. Fitzy's going to struggle to get in here. He has got one dock down, but he needs to start researching at these safe ones quickly. He needs explosives of his own, or this game will just be over against him. The camel archers are in. Mangonel shots. They're a little bit too close to be hit hard, but on the retreat, you might lose all of them now. Moves in, snipes out a few villies. Remember, these villies are very cheap to replace, though. It's not the same as most civs, right, where it's like, oh, 50 food, 50 food, 50 food, 50 food, slowing your economy, slowing your economy. You're against an HRE player. 12 food, 12 food, 12 food, 12 food, 12 food, not really slowing his economy. And these camel archers are not cheap, guys. Remember, camel archers, as you can see here, 180 food and 60 wood. So, good trade for Fitzy, and he didn't even have to come out of his base to get it. He's got to be happy with that. And now into the bombards. Slowly crawling the dock line forward. Is getting into the additional sails, and there should be explosive techs being researched. So he's going to be quite formidable on the waterfront very soon. Keep in mind, by the way, if you like take initial control and you push Lenok back and you build into carracks, the way that Lenok has built his military district is next to the waterfront. You might actually be able to siege these down with 1 or 2 carracks. Bombards. Detonation. Lenok. Oh, wait, that's the Dow. Being an idiot. Here comes the boom boom. This is what we're looking for. Can he snipe it quick enough, though? Oh, the shots. Oh, no. A health. Come on. Done dirty. Luckily, Lenok is not paying attention. We'll move in for the manual boom now. And is it going to be close enough? Not to kill. At least the damage. Now boom ship is on. Oh, my God. Lenok. He loses the full battalion. Just like that, it turns around. Fitzy denies his walkover, gets rid of the army, and now he is ready to move on out. And that is the true absurdity of the explosive ships in the Imperial Age. I just don't understand how that's reasonable. Oh my God. Let it begin. And Zebex coming out from Lenok. I don't think that's the play, dog. I think you're going to have problems with this. Because here comes the boom ships. Sayonara, sucker. Doesn't even want to waste them. Oh, okay. He wastes them. He definitely wastes. That's 2 for Zebek that's already dead. And this Zebek spam is costly for Lenok. Remember, these aren't cheap. These Zebeks, 300 gold, 480 wood. And they do not last long against the boom ships, as you are seeing. In. Oh, and he gets it. And he even sinks the back one. Remember, guys, manual detonations on the demo ships does even more damage, more blast radius. This blast radius already being absurd anyway. And oh my God, camels? Can't get them. But you notice he's losing ground. Fitzy's outproducing him on the waterfront, and Fitzy has surplus economy. Look at these numbers. Lenok struggles to match this. Fitzy, it's all in on food and wood as well, right? He's just getting surplus gold passively due to that Ringnitz Cathedral. And this is something we talked about late game. This is the power of HRE. They just pick you dry like this. Boom ships. That's 2 for 1, so Lenok should be happy with that trade. And no gains in the center, but Bombard's now coming out from Lenok. Lenok starting to try and breach here. The Dows. He needs to stagger them. Right now, the reason Lenok's holding him is because Fitzy is not staggering his boom ship, so he's losing multiples when he should be losing 1. It's like he should have been boomed here, right? He should have boomed 1 instead. Oh my God. Lenok? Lenok! Oh my God, he's not seeing this! He snuck the whole fleet through! He's being distracted because he's losing the Bombards in the center. We'll try and retreat back. Some damage done. Saves the villager fleet. And not able to sink the docks. That could have been much worse for Lenok. Fitzy not quite on the mark to fully capitalize on what's occurring there. But this is just non-stop stupidity now, guys. This is just getting absurd. Here come the boys. The boom boom boys. And slowly he's getting through the docks. That's the difference, right? He's slowly taking these out. It's a big deal. Now on fire. 1 more boom ship. He can get rid of these 2, and that means that there won't be any eyeballs ahead for Lenok. Meanwhile, in the north, moving in onto the keeps now with this army of horsemen. Remember how it was like, oh, horsemen suck now. They're totally worthless. Zoke factor of 5, please. As the keep is not going to last long against this many. Wasn't able to actually get the boiling oil in place. So we'll lose it. Siege weapons are going to be taken out by Lenok's army as he wraps round. Cam archers will fall fast here. Now they're moving in the man-at-arms. Man-at-arms able to easily deal with the spearmen. Even the villagers on the front here. The boom ship, moving in range. Fitzy, detonate, gets it. He wipes the entire army again. And all of a sudden, Lenok, he needs to replace these troops quick. Fitzy is wiping out the Ford keeps quickly here. And holy crap, the damage! Dock's gone. 1 dock left. Not for long, though. Fitzy's got an answer for that one. It's called Boom Shakalaka. And my God, is it effective. And that is all the docks for Lenok gone. The boom ships have been stacking it. He hasn't been maintaining or doing anything with it. And Fitzy will just roll on through. He now has central control. Lenok, being stripped of control of this map right now, is going to lose the center. Oh my word. And still, he just ignores it. He'll finally realize what's happening over here. I better get rid of these. Pops them out. He will detonate them all. And Lenok is off the waterfront. This is going to be so hard to get back on. Boom ships are patrolling. You're never going to get a chance, son. And all of a sudden, Fitzy, with this confidence, will look to move onto Lenok's side of the map for the first time in 30 minutes. I say that. I guess you could say the scouts were here and the prelates, but this is the first aggressive move. Aggressive economy before maybe, but never militarily. So he'll finally be in here. 8 horsemen, bombards in range. Only a few camel archers at the moment, but the horsemen are regrouping. And that is a problem for Lenok. Lenok needs to replace his army so fast here. And he doesn't have surplus. Look at his situation right now. He is being picked dry. Lenok, 95 economy. Actually less than that, effective 9 idle right now. And just look at this lack of surplus. I mean, Fitzy, he can just push out horsemen for days. He's running his own Tesco's meat brand horseman farm at this stage. And his opponent doesn't even have 1,000 surplus in reserve. Most of his military infrastructure is gone. And this is why, look, he was relying on food on the water still so much, right? Now switching over, it leaves him weak. And even if you recover on the food front, what's happening to your military district? The bombards are just wiping out all the buildings, right? So where are you going to get these new units from? You need to rebuild that as well. And every time, you need to be careful. Like Fitzy, he's always got the strong armor falling back to the demo ship line, and you could lose the army if you engage there. So it means that Lenok, he can never play directly towards the bombards easily. Now, with another TC being exposed to take it down, I mean, it's 2 left at the back at this stage for Lenok, and there's a push through. Archery ranges might get target next. Camels just trickling out into the horseman lines is not a good sign for Lenok. And the only good sign for him right now is that Fitzy is prioritizing the buildings over killing the camels. If he actually prioritizes the camels, with the bonus damage you get with the horsemen, right, up against those units, even with the reduced damage to 20%, you still pick them off fairly fast. And now, keep full drop Fitzy, able to expend these units, right? Produces villagers so quickly, he can use them aggressively like this to plop down keeps in his opponent's base. Horsemen see the culverins, can't quite get in on though. And because that aura reducing their damage, it might be hard to actually burn them to cinders now, even with only 480 health. As you can see, it's actually pathetic damage, so culverins will survive. Really important, Lenok, he can't really afford this right now. Look at the resource situation. These culverins, they represent 1,000 resources being spent, so you do not want to lose any of them. And he needs them to deal with the bombards that Fitzy just keeps pushing out. But this game, I don't see how Lenok gets a foothold back in it now. You know, he's recovering his economy in the southwest, but it's very exposed if your opponent ever goes down there. You have no military district really anymore. It's a few straggler buildings, but nothing compared to what it once was. And you don't even have the economy to easily sustain out of all these buildings. You can see a lot of them not even being used, right? The racks, he still needs to upgrade them to elite man-at-arms. These archery ranges not producing units either. Lenok just seems like he's almost given up at this stage. Just not able to actually successfully have a macro-efficient economy. Wow. I mean, when we look back at this game, though, I've got to give it to Fitzy. Fitzy, the way he played around the boom ships, the delay to get on the water. Lenok, really suboptimal play, not managing his boom ships. I think he could have pushed in, taken out the boom ships, the dock line from Fitzy that's aggressively placed. And then I think this game changes a lot, because I think at that stage, Fitzy can't as confidently push out onto the central basin, right? Onto the central island and take control. But because you failed to actually manage these boom ships that stacked up to 4 at one point doing nothing, you just eventually, you see the crawl in, Fitzy slowly taking control and once again showing you just how absurd war can be on any hybrid map, right? Where such a critical area comes into contest. It's the person who has war control that has the edge, and it's definitely the case when you're talking about Imperial Age boom ships. What on earth, Fitzy? I see you've built stone walls to keep me out. Doesn't work if I'm already in. As he drops the Racks district right next to the eco lines. And I think Lenok, he may not have tapped out yet, but this is all but done. So many horsemen coming out. Fitzy still with absurd surplus resources to keep throwing whatever he wants. At this stage, he could actually just spam out the cannons and load the horses inside him and fire them at his opponents. It would still be an efficient trade. Even though cannonballs are more effective, usually it's just that's how much resource he has in bank, right? That's how much he's got in reserve. And it's kind of absurd. It shows you how weak source camel archers can feel. Like, I think part of this is really on Lenok. Lenok should have had stables. He should have been building into camel riders. Camel riders could have dealt with the horsemen. The problem is he can never gap close to the horsemen so fast. And the horsemen, this is them with reduced damage, right? Keep in mind that they're losing 20% damage due to the camel unease, that is the aura that comes out from the archers, the camel archers and the camel riders. But he had to play into archers because if he went into riders instead, he'd never be able to actually gap close. He'd be kited all the time by the superior movement speed. And this just kind of shows the frustration a lot of Abbasid players are having at the moment. This Civ is dog water. It doesn't do anything, really. There's a reason why it's the last pick in a lot of these tournaments when you go to a BO5. It's scraping the bottom of the barrel, and the barrel is empty now for Lenok as he will GT out, and Fitzy will take the win.